Hey guys, it's Nayeli and Annie on Hang On What podcast, and we have the pleasure of sitting here today with Anthony Smith. The heart of the lion is what I called you. You're probably like, no, it's Lionheart.
Oh, it's whatever.
It's whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter. Well, thank you so much. A lot of people in our line of work, I'm like, yeah, I'm having a podcast with Anthony. And they're like, who's that? I'm like, you don't know who Anthony is? So we want people to know who you are. So you're from Omaha, but not originally.
No, originally, I was born in Texas, lived in Colorado Springs for a long time, and then moved to Nebraska City when I was in 6th grade.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was stalking you last night. I was like, I better get some questions to ask him. Like, what am I going to ask? So Nebraska City. So you went to school there?
I did. I went to school there. I did not graduate. I dropped out of high school halfway through my senior year. And then I moved to Omaha and started fighting right away.
You're like, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm just figuring this thing out.
So you didn't just start fighting right away. How did you get into fighting?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did.
You're just like, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, I had I don't know, I had 5 fights before I had ever even trained.
Like Golden Gloves or just
No,
what kind of?
Nothing. I just fought. So when I first started fighting, MMA was very, very grassroots, very, I don't know, seemingly illegal.
Okay.
It wasn't sanctioned in the state of Nebraska. The athletic commissions weren't involved, and then the cops weren't showing up, shutting it down, but they weren't regulating it either.
Got you.
So you just showed up and you signed on.
You just did this.
Yeah, you signed this bullshit paper, and you told them how much you weighed and whatever your record was that you made up, and then they just matched you up that night as close as they could.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's hilarious. So was it where were they at? Where were these fights at?
I was at the South Sokol.
Oh.
The little tiny one. I don't even know if that thing's open anymore.
I don't know. Now, Sokol Hall, it's not that one. You're talking about way south. Sokol Hall, they revamped the whole thing. It's a new name. I think a new company went in and bought it.
Yeah, it's really nice. I haven't been there in a long time.
I feel like it's still there, though, the old one. I live over there.
Really?
I live in South Oak.
Yeah, that's
They had a lot of fights there. And then Golden Gloves. Did you ever do Golden? Did you ever mess with boxing?
No, never.
None of that. You just wanted
when I was in high
kick
school,
the crap out of people.
I boxed a little bit in high school, but never competed. I just trained a little bit.
Yeah. So your backstory. So you started fighting.
I started fighting.
And then you're like, how did you get picked up? What made you?
I lost all of them. I lost my first 4 fights. Yeah, I lost my first 4 fights, and then there was this old man. He's old now, but he was much older than me at the time. His name is Marty Anderson. He still lives in Omaha. He still trains.
Yeah.
Marty was helping run that show that I was fighting in, and Marty said, "Hey, I think you got some potential. I have this spot on the back of my house. If you want to come train."
Was he a boxer? Was he UFC? What kind of train? What?
He was kind of a little bit of everything. That was why he was such a good coach.
Yeah.
His grappling was good. He had good striking. He could box. And so I just started driving.
Just whatever he told you to do?
Yeah, well, I started driving from Nebraska City to Omaha every single day.
Wow.
I dropped out of high school and just was...
You just wanted to make it that was just your thing. You were driven. Did it keep you out of trouble or did it make you get in trouble?
No, I was in a lot of trouble back then. I was fighting and partying and...
Still in trouble.
Yeah,
He's lying. He's still in trouble.
I was wild. I was like a feral animal. I just did whatever I wanted. I had no rules. So when I didn't know what this fighting thing was going to do. I had no intentions for this to be a career.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, I just liked it, and I wanted to keep doing it.
Adrenaline, the rush.
Definitely the adrenaline, definitely the rush. But
if you lost them all, you weren't getting satisfaction. How were you getting your satisfaction?
I wasn't.
You're like, I gotta figure this up. I'm not doing something right.
Yeah, that's. I've always
the art of it.
Yeah, I've always been an athlete. So when you're not good at something, then you're really driven to get better. So I found myself really driven to be good at this, and I didn't know where it was going to take me. So then I I guess I just started, the more you train,
Right.
and the more I spent more time doing that, I spent less time partying. So the more time I spent around other guys that were chasing the same thing,
Right.
the less time I spent with people that were,
Not going to take you in the direction you wanted to
that
go.
were doing all the bullshit.
Right.
So I just inherently got in less trouble because I was spending more time doing something positive.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's weird.
It is weird.
Like I accidentally turned into a decent
blessing.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anything's an accident.
No, not at all. I don't know where it would have been if I hadn't started fighting.
Yeah. Well, God knew where He wanted to put you.
Yeah.
Ish. Get comfortable. This is we do upscale here. This Hang On What podcast. It's a very fancy table, very expensive.
It's fine. I do mine at home.
Yeah. Well, I was like, Anthony Sniffs is not coming to my house. We're going to figure this, take it to a spot. So we were going to do it at another place, but it was double booked. So
that's okay.
So
I like this one. It smells really nice here.
Good. We appreciate the nice smells. Okay, so you got into fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nebraska City. When did you make that move from Nebraska City to Omaha? What made you come to Omaha?
Oh, I went back and forth a couple times.
Did you?
Yeah, so fighting is like, I don't know, it's a bunch of bankruptcies over, and every time you lose, you ruin everything, right? So I moved to Omaha, and then I would have to move back home, and then I moved to Omaha again. But the first time I left, I was like 18. Like as soon as I turned 18, my mom helped me get an apartment, and then I was fighting for ticket sales and sponsorships and a couple dollars here and there.
The struggle is real.
It's a real struggle.
That's why I was like texting you when I was talking to you. I'm like, how do you get sponsors? Like this is like, and to get people to believe in you. That's the other thing. It's the hardest part.
It's harder and harder these days than it was back then.
I agree.
At least then I had I had something to give back.
Right.
Like you could support me, you could put your logo on my shorts.
Right.
And then you could come and watch and we can all celebrate together.
Right.
Like maybe like monetarily wise, people aren't getting anything in return.
Right.
But at least they were feeling like they were getting something. These days it's impossible. It's so corporate. Even on my podcast, like there's a lot of stuff I don't like to deal with. I'd have way more sponsors if I was more PC probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I get that. No, but it's tough. I mean, it is. It's like, and everybody's got budgets. Their budgets I don't know. I like to barter. Bartering is, I think, the best. But if you don't have something to give, then,
Right.
But then, I don't know, you always reap what you sow as well.
For sure.
It's going to come back at you one way or the other.
Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad. There you go. Okay, so you're back in Omaha. Mm-hmm. How do you meet your honey? Okay,
so that's a funny story. My best friend, like one of my best friends in high school, was a girl. Her name was Nadine.
Hey, Nadine.
Yeah, so Nadine, when we both got out of high school, she went and did the college thing, and I went like this fighting for money thing. So like it's totally different world.
Right.
So we lost contact. She got married, had a baby, and me and another friend were at, back in the day, and people in Omaha remember, but 114th and Dodge was the place to go if you wanted to party.
Yes.
So
yeah, I actually remember. I remember the area very well.
Like Thursday nights or whatever it was.
Yep.
So I was out with some friends, and I ran into Nadine. Like I hadn't seen her in a long time. She's like kind of going through this divorce. Like things aren't going well for her, and she's got this tall, hot chick with her, and they were both pretty intoxicated.
He didn't take advantage of that, you guys.
I did not. I was a gentleman.
Yes, you were. Your mama raised you right.
She did.
That's right.
So I chit-chatted with them for a little bit, and they left, and I stayed, and Michaela texted me, I think like the next
She texted you?
She did, yeah. Yeah, she
said, wait.
Yeah.
I remember you. I wasn't that drunk.
And I was I have absolutely zero game. That's how I've been my whole life. I have no game.
That's not bad.
Zero. So we would plan to hang out. We hang out like one day, and then I wouldn't talk to her again.
Then that would make me mad.
I wasn't like.
She was probably like, this guy does not like me. Yeah, you should.
She does too. So the first time we hung out, we had like drinks at a bar. I think I got pretty drunk, and I think I was like nervous. So I like side hugged her and was like, "All right, see you later." She was like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?" So yeah, it was like our first date.
Aww.
Yeah.
And then, how many years have you been married now?
We haven't been married that long. 4 4 years in September.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We've been together 13.
They've been together a long time.
Yeah.
And you got babies?
We have 4 daughters.
Oh my gosh. All girls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
All girls. So do you get any say in the house at all?
No. I'm just there to pay the bills.
They punch on you?
And drive. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
I have the most aggressive daughters.
That's awesome.
They
learned that from their mother.
Absolutely. They definitely have her attitude.
Us women got to stick together.
Yeah, I don't know. She's really tough on them, so they're
That's
tough.
good.
They're tough back.
You have to be tough. I mean, it's my whole thing is women empowering women. That's like my big motto.
I was raised by women too.
I like that.
It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, it's just I'm just a lone wolf out here.
It's
Me and the dogs.
I'm telling you. There you go. And your dog. Okay, you have 2 dogs? Bulldogs? I saw a bulldog.
I have 2 Frenchies.
Okay, Frenchies.
And then a foster Frenchie.
Okay. So I saw you at Junk Stock. And it was hilarious because I was going to get a sign for my little love shack. So I'm always out there selling my Annie Fanny. And I was going, and it was hot and sweaty. It always is. Dust everywhere. And I'm like, I saw you, and I'm like, that's Lionheart. And then I was like, you not in my element, I didn't know. You don't find you at Junk Stock.
Right.
And you're pulling your little wagon with your...
Junk Stock.
That's hilarious. You're pulling your little wagon with your dog and you're with your wife, and then somebody's like, who is that? And I'm like, he's on UFC all the time, man. He's like, and then they're like, really? I thought he looked familiar. And yeah, so that was
kind of one of those faces where people probably seen me, like, not only am I like in the UFC, but I'm on ESPN all the time.
Yeah, you are.
If you're just channel surfing, you'll probably come across it if you're on sports.
Yeah. You're a good commentator.
But I think people are like, I know I've seen that guy somewhere before.
And it's a face that you don't forget. Can you see it's mine in my face? It's a face you don't forget. I mean, like when you see you, but you are a good commentator. Like when you're on there, like you do a good job.
That was an accident too.
It's a blessing.
It was.
Yeah, there's nothing. Definitely. There's no accidents.
It was a total accident.
Yeah, how did that happen? Like, I know we're throwing all over the place, but
fighters are like inherently not great with people mostly. So when I go to these media days, when I fight, you show up on Tuesday and you have an entire media schedule that's dedicated. So most guys will have 2 or 3 things for the entire week. And I started realizing every time I fought, my shit would be like 2 pages, like completely full for the entire week. And I would be like, how come everyone else's media schedule is awesome?
Right.
And I'm here Tuesday till 9 a.m. and then I'm back Wednesday at 6 a.m. and I'm then like, they're trying to find like times for me to eat in my schedule because there's like no time left. So it didn't make any sense. Well, then the media people, you start to talk to them and like, you're the only one that gives us any decent interviews. So everybody requests you.
That's flattering.
It is, but also fighters don't do themselves any favors. Like they just want to blow off the media and the interviews and they don't want to talk to anybody. Well, like that's how we get paid. Everything is a return on your investment. So if I'm not going to invest enough time into having a conversation with them, then no one gives a shit about watching me fight. So,
well, that's how they get to know you, and then they get to fall in love with you, and then they're like, "I want this guy to win."
Yeah, like people have to be attached to your story.
Right.
They
I
have
agree.
to relate to you in some way.
And that's kind of why we wanted to do this too. Just to like let people from Omaha know who you are.
Right.
Because.
And I don't do a good enough job here.
I feel like even with my business. And this is going to sound really stupid, but it's honestly the truth. I have awesome customers and awesome followers, and you guys are amazing, and I love you. But I feel like when I travel, it's like, oh my gosh, Annie's here. Like I'm like,
for sure, you're never as popular
in your hometown.
In your hometown,
it's crazy.
Like I can go in and out of gas stations, no problem. Every once in a while, I'll go, hey, Lionheart.
But it is nice to like.
Which is why like I don't complain about it too much because I'm not.
You have a life still.
I can just do my own thing.
Yeah.
I am wildly popular. Everywhere else I go.
Yeah.
Like it's
crazy.
Hard to get in and out of restaurants and gas stations and wherever I'm at. Yeah. Like I can't do anything without having security or a handler with me.
Right.
And in Omaha, nobody cares. Which
we don't care about you, Lionheart.
Which is cool because I like being able to just live my normal life. Right. But I don't do a good enough job. Like Terrence has done a great job. Like
Terrence is he has.
Like he's done an incredible job.
Yeah.
Putting Omaha on the map and on his back.
Right.
And I think I go out and I do I think
you're doing a good job, though.
Other places.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the same with me. Like, I could beat myself up for not, like, promoting my brand enough. But it's like, we can only do so much. You know,
Right.
it's at the end of the day, you're exhausted. You have a family, you have kids, you have like, you're human, you know? So it's like,
I don't have any more like time
To give.
to dedicate.
yeah, we tried to make this podcast happen another time as well. It's okay. It's
I'm
fine.
a busy guy. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I am too.
Well-
My time is very, no, I'm just,
Well, I mean, so we're both busy.
yeah,
we're
I'm
both
just-
all over the place.
I'm giving you a hard time. But no, I feel like, so that was one of my questions I was going to ask you. Like, if you could know what you know now, and obviously you still have such a journey to go and so much a legacy to leave and, things you want to do. But if you could turn the clock backwards and there was 2 things that you would do differently and you had that special little one to make a better decision or a better choice. And I know people say, well, I wouldn't change it because it wouldn't be where I am today. But if there was 2 things that you could decide that, hey, I wish I would have done this to see where it would have gotten me today. As somebody that's in your shadow, that admires you and looks at you and wants to be like you, what would you give them a piece of advice of?
Ooh, this is going to sound terrible. So what I'm going to preface this with, obviously, I wouldn't change anything because then I think
Right.
if you change.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. If you change one thing,
Changes everything.
Yeah, I believe in that ripple effect. So, like, if I change one thing, then maybe I don't have my kids or whatever.
Right.
But with that out of the picture,
Right.
I would have left Omaha faster. And not saying
That doesn't sound bad.
Well, I'm not saying I would have moved away. Maybe I wouldn't have, because I do my training camps in Denver now. So I would have gotten out of my comfort zone sooner.
Got it.
And done it way earlier before it was an emergency. Because when I did it, it was, holy shit, like, I'm fucked if I don't go do something else. I'm already behind.
Right.
Like, I'd already overstayed my welcome and been the best guy in the gym, and maybe I'd went
Right.
2 or 3 years without growing and not realized it. So I would have done that sooner, which maybe would have changed a lot of things, but who knows?
Right.
And I wish that I would have acted more of a professional in my personal life when I was younger.
That's a very good answer.
Like, now I'm doing all of those things, like
Right.
all the rest and the recovery and the diet and the things that a 35-year-old athlete have to do to just
To live
just
and
to
have
keep
your
up.
joints stay
Right.
into, yeah. Like, wow, that cracked. That didn't crack yesterday.
Like, I would have had way less surgeries probably. I would have had a lot less injuries. I would have been, like, my whole, like, not to get too deep into the weeds, but like my whole endocrine system is totaled because I was letting my weight yo-yo so much. Like, I would have went up a weight class
Right.
sooner than I did and not crush myself cutting down to 185. I would have just made more professional decisions that I wouldn't be dealing with now, whether it's injuries or arthritis or, like, you should see me get out of bed. It's a disaster.
Well, I mean, you have been beat up and smacked around and everything, but
Like, over 50 fights. So I could have mitigated that. I have a friend in the UFC. His name is Jim Miller. He has the most fights in UFC history. I think he's got the most wins in UFC history. A whole shit ton of records. He's fought on UFC 100, UFC 200, and he's about to fight on UFC 300, and he's in his 40s.
whoop, whoop.
He's never broken a bone.
Wow.
He's never had a serious surgery.
But he's probably super freaking healthy.
Crazy healthy, though.
Yeah.
He's always been super healthy. He's always taken really good care of himself. I tend to have fun sometimes. Like, I get younger, or like
Right.
when I was younger, I would
Right.
fight, and like, you might not see me in the gym for a month. Like, I might just be out
Yeah.
hanging with my kids, partying with my friends on the weekends. Like, that's kind of how I did it.
Discipline.
I would have been more disciplined earlier.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's
And I'll
great.
still have some beers and hang out, but definitely not like I did when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's your life, it's your life. And then you also want to be around for your girls. you know?
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
the
also
other thing.
think that people, even in regular life, outside from being an athlete, they only worry about like their job when they're doing it.
Right.
So
Your
I
job
don't-
is all the time.
I only looked at training camp. I only looked at it as I'm working when I was in training camp. If I wasn't in training camp, I wasn't working.
But that's
And
an epic fail
that's
because
total fail.
your body has to be ready all the time.
Right. So now I'm constantly working. I'm doing my, just the things to manage my injuries in my body and not let my weight balloon. And,
Yeah.
like, I'm heavier now than I should be, but it's manageable. So it is what it is.
I know I asked you, I was like, what's your food diary? You're like, I don't really keep one. I'm like,
No,
you
not
don't
really.
keep a food diary?
Well, I mean, I'm a little bougie. When I'm in camp, I have a cook, then they just cook everything for me.
But that's awesome. I mean, I wish I
It's
had a
super
cook.
awesome. But outside of
Niall
it-
and I would be like, we'd be like mint shape if we had a cook. Like, can you just cook protein, like all the things?
Yeah, it's nice.
It is nice.
Like she shows up, she cooks it, she puts it in the fridge, she
And it
labels it.
tastes good.
She labels it, and I just eat it.
And you're full after you eat it. Like you don't have like, yeah.
Yeah, she does all my weight cuts. It's really nice. But outside of training camp, I can kind of, as long as I'm staying active, I can kind of just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I don't get too heavy.
That's good.
I try.
So anything coming up for you? Any kind of crazy? What do you want to do? Like, do you want to? Where's your heart at after fighting? I guess I should say. You're like, is there something after fighting?
I don't want to do anything that I have to do.
You want to enjoy it.
I want to do what I want to do.
That's what I'm doing.
Not what I have.
That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah,
I want to do this.
I just want to do whatever I want and not have to. I don't know, not have to worry about it. You know, if I never fought again, my lifestyle wouldn't change.
Yeah.
Like I would be fine forever. But
But you love it.
Well, I'll continue to do the commentary stuff and work on the desk and my podcast and the radio show. Like I really enjoy those things. And if I don't have something to do, my wheels are just spinning, I'll lose my shit. I fall apart.
I feel like that's why I keep Nayeli so busy because I'm always like, she's like, you're going to start a podcast? I'm like, yeah, we're going to start a podcast. She's like, when are you going to have time for a podcast? You don't even work. Like, I'm like, because I have so much going on. But I'm like, it's something that I actually enjoy, something different. And I get to meet you and I get to talk to you and I get to share your story and with other people that don't know you. And so our podcast is more really towards entrepreneurs is really what it is. And people that are like, the struggle is real, like No Name Nutrition and, you know, just all these business owners.
It's crazy.
And there's room for all of us, but it's just kind of giving them a platform for people to know who they are because they are in Omaha, you know, but we've got one on Friday from Colorado and just different people. We want to just reach out and venture, but that was the whole idea of this.
I love the idea though. Like podcasts are so much fun because it's like I hate interviews.
Yeah.
But I don't mind podcasts. Like if someone asks me or they reach out on Instagram, like, hey, I'd like to interview you. I usually won't respond. I'll at least look if it's a podcast request. Because then I can have like I don't do well in interview, like small form, you know, snips. Usually I sound like an idiot, but
they get to know you. Okay. Yeah. Like it's even if you say something stupid, they get to hear the rest of it. It's like, oh, that guy's pretty hilarious. You know, like, So
I say a lot of stupid stuff.
I do too. I say stupid shit all the time.
I have to really like tone it down when I'm on ESPN because I spend so much time on podcasts. Yeah. My radio show is on Sirius XM. So it's, you know, it's like behind a paywall. So I can say whatever I want. I can curse. I can talk about random shit. I can pull up big booty memes. Like I can do whatever I want. And it's a lot of fun. And then I get on ESPN and I got to remember like, okay.
Professional. Keep it clean. Yeah. Filter. Yeah. All the things. But it's an amazing opportunity too.
It is. Yeah. It is. And it's only going to grow from here.
Right.
As soon as I retire, my whole role with ESPN will change.
Awesome. So that's exciting.
I'll have more time and at least more time to give them.
Yeah. I like it. So I have to ask this question. So when did you get that call from UFC? Like when did you...
When I got signed?
Yeah. How did that happen? Because that had to be pretty like, holy crap.
I've gotten two of them, actually. So the first one... I was fighting for a company called Strikeforce, and then the UFC bought Strikeforce. So then they took who they wanted and absolved us into the UFC. So I didn't get that like aha moment. I'm in the UFC. We kind of knew it was coming.
Right.
But then I fought my first UFC fight, blew my knee, had to have surgery, and they cut me while I was hurt.
Oh.
So then it took me 2 years to fight my way back. And then I got a short notice call, and that was awesome.
Yeah. You're like, sweet.
I'd beaten out of the top 10 guys in the country that were unsigned, I'd beaten 8 of them already. And I was the 9th, and then there was only one other guy, and I'd be like,
for you, though.
Out of the country. So
you had to almost prove yourself after like getting cut. You're like, okay, I can do this. Like,
I had to do way more than anybody else had to do to get back.
Yeah.
So then I was in Ireland for 10 days before that. And I came home I was like drinking beer with my breakfast. I was training.
But you were in Ireland.
Yeah, like I was training for sure.
Was it protein beer?
It was the best beer in the world. So I mean, I was definitely there training, but we were also enjoying ourselves too. I had
Right.
just fought, so I came home, and then they called and said, "Hey, we want to re-sign you." I was like super pumped, and they said, "But it's in 5 days." Like, oh,
How do you get, okay, so that was another one. How do you get ready? Like when you're like, okay, I got to, besides doing like the sweating and wearing the sweatsuits and running, and how do you like,
short notice?
short notice, how do you lose that fat? We need these tips,
Oh,
ladies.
you're
Get your pens.
There's no fat being lost at all.
It's all just
there's a big
water
difference
weight.
between cutting weight
We need
and
to lose
losing
fat.
and losing weight. I can't tell you how to lose weight. I could tell you how to cut weight though, for sure. But you're going to gain it back as
Right.
soon as
you start drinking.
As soon as you start drinking, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you do though? What are
I
your
do mine all in a bathtub.
Really?
So we put like 20 pounds of Epsom salt in the tub, and you get the water like where it's tolerable,
Is it cold?
just above that. No, just hot, like on the heat side.
Oh, okay.
So hot enough that you can just barely tolerate it, and then turn it up like 2 more degrees. So it's hard to get into.
Okay. Like super hot jacuzzi.
Yeah. And then you just lay in it. It sucks. Yeah, and you just lay in it until you're 20 pounds lighter.
That's insane.
It took me.
How does the water stay hot?
Oh, then they just keep adding water. So like, the tubs have the drains at the top. So when
Yes,
you get in,
yes.
it drains down to that.
Okay.
Once it stops draining to that, then they fill it up again.
Got it.
Yeah, and they just keep dumping salt.
We gotta get that.
It's
Okay.
terrible though.
That's yeah, but I want to lose fat. I don't want.
Yeah, I don't know what to do there.
Yeah, it's just stop eating.
I'll give you a number though.
Oh.
I'll give you a number of someone that could help you. But
There you go. There you go. Okay, so you have interesting. Natalie, how we doing on time, girlfriend? 1 minute. Okay. So we're gonna probably cut it, and then we'll just do like another little second episode because we have 30 minutes of filming, and then it
Oh, yeah.
stops off. So.
That's fine.